Hi, boys and girls. This is Ms. Kathy. I'm so happy you've joined me today for another story just for you. Lori's Riding Lesson by Lori Peckham. Are we finally here? I asked as we drove through the stone gate of Jordan Hollow Farm. I sure hope so, my older sister Terry mumbled. My family was taking a little vacation to the Shenandoah Valley of Virginia. We would be spending 3 days at a 200-year-old horse farm. The brochure had promised lovely rooms, cozy conversations and quiet games, walks on the farm, swimming, porch sitting, interesting people. As I stepped out of the car, I noticed the green rolling hills, big shade trees, and shiny horses grazing. The owner's wife greeted us and showed us to our rooms above the corral. I set my suitcase on the gingham bedspread and asked, "Where's the pool?" "There's a pond about a mile from here," she responded. I frowned. So that's what the brochure meant when it talked about swimming. "But you girls really ought to go horseback riding," she continued. Terry and I looked at each other. "There's a ride for beginners in a few minutes," she said. "Jody's really good with the horses." Soon Terry and I found ourselves down at the stables waiting with the other vacationers. And then a girl with a ponytail and bowed legs ambled in. She was wearing a tank top, jeans, and cowboy boots. Somehow we knew she was Jody. "All right, first thing, everyone needs to wear one of these," she announced, holding up an equestrian helmet. "Why?" someone asked. "Policy." Jody pointed to a sign above the rack of helmets. "All riders must wear helmets." Terry and I wanted to go back to our room right then. Now we would look really stupid in all the photos. Jody took care of that problem, though. "No cameras!" she yelled. We heard a chorus of moans, then a pile of Nikons, iPhones, and Canons appeared on the hay. Jody ambled out to the corral, and somehow we knew we were supposed to follow her. Out there, she motioned to us one at a time and matched each rider with a horse. Terry was glad to get an old spotted horse named Hallie. "At least he won't go fast," she whispered. Jody pointed at me and then a tall brown horse. "I really haven't ridden much." I hesitated. "Is he fast?" "I'd rather have an old one. Do you have a grandma horse?" "This horse is pregnant," Jody said, giving me a shove up onto Lady's back. And then we were on the open trail. We climbed a hill and passed by a mountain lake trimmed with wild mustard. As I listened to the clop of the horses on the road and looked at the blue mountains and the cloud-brushed air, I felt like part of the scenery. But then the problems began. Hallie tailgated the horse in front of Terry. The horse swished its tail, and Hallie reared. "Tell her ho!" Jody yelled at Terry. "Ho?" asked Terry timidly. Then my lady began to eat the foliage along the trail. "Pull her away!" Jody ordered. "Make her move! Kick her sides!" "But she's pregnant." "Kick her!" Exasperated, I did. Lady took off running. "Stop her!" Jody screamed after me. "How?" I shouted back. "Why don't you push the off button?" Jody snarled, riding up and grabbing Lady's reins. After that, I felt determined to take control of my horse. She was going to obey me like my computer and my iPod. But Lady wasn't at all like them. Most of the time she obeyed, but sometimes she didn't, and I always had the uneasy feeling of dealing with a separate will. Ultimately, she would walk wherever she wanted, no matter what I said. That got me thinking about God and the freedom He gives us. If He'd created us with control keys, He could make sure we never did anything wrong or made bad decisions. But He doesn't want a robot for a friend, so He gives us the awesome gift of free choice. It's the only way to have a real relationship. The funny thing is that I still think about Lady sometimes. I wonder if her colt was born okay, and if she's still stopping to eat the foliage. And if I ever get back to Jordan Hollow Farm, I wouldn't think of riding any other horse, because now we have a relationship. And so do God and I. I may not always follow the right trail, but I know I want to go home with Him. He's promised the best pastures and scenery.
The story you have heard today is from Guide's Greatest Stories, written by various authors and compiled by Randy Fischel, and used with permission from the Pacific Press Publishing Association. If you're interested in any other books published by the Seventh-day Adventist Church, please visit AdventistBookCenter.com or call 1-800-765-6955.
This podcast is a production of the Carolina Conference of the Seventh-day Adventist Church.